All right, let's start with some key terms that you need to have a working understanding of to go through the course. We're going to do four of them. Course is called Media and Society, so you can obviously imagine that media and society can be two of them, but also there are these terms culture and communication, which are very important as supporting terms as well. We, in the rest of this unit, are then going to go through a very truncated history of media, what we're going to call mass communication, and also talk a little bit about how ideas about, let's say, what culture is or sort of how it works, and communication and so on have evolved over time, and that's going to take us through the first chapter of the textbook. All right, communication, first and foremost. You can think of communication as kind of a broader term than media, and it is basically all of the ways in which we use symbols as human beings to try to convey information meaningfully to one another. So many different things that aren't words or writing can be communication, right? And some of you have taken comm classes before are well acquainted with this, that I'm doing this, a gesture, that can be communication. Different aspects of nonverbal communication might come to mind as well. And other things, clothes can be communication. Anything that's symbolic in the sense of symbol just means anything that can be sort of coded as, meaning something to another human being. Society, so media and society. We're going to differentiate society and culture, but they really, they're sort of two halves of the same coin. They really go hand in hand. So according to Cambridge Dictionary, we've got a definition of society, which is a large group of people who live together in an organized way, making decisions about how to do things and sharing the work that needs to be done. And then they further elaborate, all the people in a country or in similar countries can be referred to as a society. So if you think of like what a nation or a country is, it's kind of the first part of this definition. It's a bunch of people, most of whom don't know each other, but nonetheless who are living kind of in a place that they all identify in the same way, right? Like members of a nation refer to themselves as all living in that nation. And they share some role in doing all this work that it takes to maintain the community or sets of communities that they live in. So we all as individuals participate essentially in the collective work of creating and maintaining a society and what we live in. So that, similar countries, you can think of people refer to like European society, for instance, right? Or Latin American society as bigger than just an individual nation, but sort of still a place-based identification of like a big group of people that are all sort of identified in participating in the same kind of community at a very macro level in some way. Culture, by contrast, is sort of the forms of expression that people use to mark themselves or understand themselves as members of one of those particular groups or societies. So definition from the textbook now, symbols of expression that individuals, groups, and societies, use to make sense of daily life and to articulate their values. So society is the people, and culture is the way that the people understand themselves, kind of. And in this class, we're going to be thinking about cultural products, which are things like movies or TV shows, anything that is sort of a product that's made like to make money maybe, and distributed to other people. But also culture encompasses more things like the ways we go about sort of our way of life, religious ceremonies, games, rituals of different sorts, customs, and so on. Finally, so here's this handy diagram for all the things that count as culture. Finally, media, or what we're going to call mass communication, is instead of one-to-one communication, like between me and another person, it's one-to-many communication. And so the focus of this class specifically will be on the culture industries that create and deliver mass communication products. This is an old idea that we're going to be studying as a sort of more modern phenomenon, essentially. So media and mass